What's going on, y'all? We coming back here deep third for another edition. We just appreciate everybody who's going to tune in live, even if you guys watch it afterwards. Just make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. We're so excited to y'all again on a Sunday night. We got a very nice show for y'all tonight. I'm gonna pass it off to Dante and let him take that thing on.
Yo, hey man, like my boy Breezy said, man, appreciate you guys coming on live, watching, and also the people that watch it afterwards. So like he said, man, we have a special show going on. As you know, I'm DP, and then we got
My man Jarrell, aka Breeze.
And it's your boy Fave here. What's going on, everybody?
man, and listen, and we have a special guest in the house, man. Shout out to my big cousin Ricky. Go ahead, say something, man.
Hey, what's going on? Boy, Ricky. Just here to chop it up with the fellas.
Yes, sir. Hey, so also like we always do, man. Faye, go ahead and tell everybody about our new segment.
So we got a segment here. It's called Deep Thought, and it's pretty much towards the end of the show where we take the comments, questions, whatever the case may be, from you guys, the viewers. This segment is for you guys. So anything we're talking about, if you got something that you want to add, make sure that you put some comments in, and we'll give you our deep thought.
Perfect. All right. Hey, so before we begin, man, I want Ricky to kind of jump in and just tell us a little bit about your because he has his own podcast as well that he's been running for I want to say a number of years. Actually, he has like two of them. So I just wanted you to kind of tell our fans and the guests that's also that probably just jumped on and just tell them a little bit about your podcast and what you do.
Okay, I actually don't have a podcast. What I have two YouTube channels. My first YouTube channel is my name. It's the official Ricky Bowden, and it's centered around Army, military life, military content, talking about what I did in the military, my jobs. It also highlights other MOSs, which is jobs in the military, and whether it be Air Force. I have some Army and Air Force individuals that have done some interviews talking about their jobs. So that's basically a military-based channel. And I also have my second channel, which is called Shoot Better Sports, which is what you see right here on the mic. On that, I talk about shooting sports photography, and I give insight on how to shoot sports. I've had a lot of experience in doing it. I worked for the Redskins for 3 seasons from 2016 to 2019. I had a job last season working for Major League Baseball as a live content creator. And I've shot numerous high school, numerous youth leagues. I've shot the WNBA, so I've have a lot of experience shooting sports. So I wanted to give out all that experience that I have and help other people, maybe whether it be, um, soccer moms or anybody out there trying to shoot good sports of their kids, or people trying to shoot, sports just a regular average Joe, trying to give them pointers on how they can shoot better sports. So that's that channel. So that's what that's all about.
Nice.
Perfect. Bet. Did y'all have any other questions for Ricky before we get started?
I just wanted to say, man, Ricky, I appreciate you coming on this channel. I know you've tuned in, and we appreciate that, and I appreciate what you do. Both my parents are former military, both retired. I just think it's great what you do, and I also do photography. So, all around, Ricky, you got my you got my number, man. So just appreciate you coming on tonight.
Okay, no
Definitely.
problem. No
Definitely.
problem.
Yes, appreciate it. Thank you. All right, hey man. So listen, the first question, man, we jumping straight off the boat with this one, bro. Ain't pushing, ain't holding no
Cam
punches
Newton.
back. We going in. Who?
Cam Newton.
I mean, Cam Newton he's gonna be good at the with the Pats. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he's gonna be good with the Pats, but they ain't gonna do nothing. Anyways, I'm sorry, we do have Patriot fans on the cast tonight, so Big Fave and
Whatever,
little boy
man.
Breezy.
Get out of here with that.
So listen, so just a little backstory. Laura Ingram, Fox News contributor, she has her own show. She came on probably about like I want to say maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. Once uh, Don President Trump got elected, and I believe it was LeBron James and KD. They basically kind of spoke out and kind of said how they felt about him as a president, and the things that they didn't like, and the things that they were kind of upset about, how he was moving about with him being the president. And so she came out and said, you know, you as a professional basketball player, you really should just stay in your lane. Just shut up and dribble. Then we fast forward to about 3 months, about a month ago. Uh, Drew Brees came out and said how he felt about players kneeling with the national anthem, and how he felt. And then she came back and she was like, you know, he's a person. He should be able to say how he feels. And so we would kind of just so the question that we want to put out is, as an athlete or a professional athlete or a celebrity, should they be able to use their platform to speak out on um, social issues, or or have a political stance? So whoever wants to go first, I'll let y'all go.
Ricky, you the
Man,
guest.
I'll take this thing on. Matter of fact, yeah, Ricky, you the guest. Go ahead and lead this thing off.
Oh, okay. I would say, now more than ever, I think it's important for them to use those platforms to speak out on social injustice, because our power structure in our country likes to go to the entertainers and the athletes and talk about political issues. They don't want to go to any of our elite, our intellectual, our people that actually study politics, our people that actually know about politics. They don't want to talk to any of them anyway. So because of that, it's more and more important for our entertainers and our athletes to speak up about social issues, because that's who they seem to want to go to ask questions about it, and the influence that they have in our society, or in the black community, for sure. The influence that they have, it's imperative that they speak out on those things, so that these kids that follow them can see, um, that they're doing something other than just playing their sport, and not and just getting their money and going home. They're actually standing up for things that's going on in the country. So I say now more than ever, yes. um, I think, it's kind of disingenuous to just think that athletes are monolithic, that all they do is play sports, and that they don't have opinions on other stuff. So I think guys like LeBron James and those guys that got up and spoke out, that always speak out, I think it's great, and I think they should continue to do that, because as you can see, that there's a little bit of power in what they do, and when they decide that they're not going to do that until something's done, you can kind of see, what happened when the NBA went away for those 3 days. There's a lot of money that got lost. The networks lost money, the teams lost money, and they see that, okay, we're gonna use our platform. So I think it's very important. I think it goes hand in hand with the things that we go through in the society, and even those guys, as rich as they are and as famous as they are, still face these same things personally. So it's important that they continue to stand up for social injustices.
Yeah,
Mm,
Jarrell.
I like that. I like that. Man, I'm a good bull. It's a why or why not in my mindset. And when I weigh those two options, you know, the why not wins out. Why wouldn't you, if you're given a platform, use it? Now, what I would love to see, and what I hope comes out is, these people are truly, um, looking into, reading into, studying up, and not just giving a phony, um, kind of point of view from what they see. Don't feel the pressure from the community. But at the end of the day, whether I'm a NBA, a NFL, a TV movie star, whoever I am, when I'm looking at these people, I say, what separates them from any other person? And I say nothing. It can be my job to follow politics. It can be my job just to be a car salesman. We do it amongst ourselves every day. We talk about this, that, and the third, what we don't like about our current president, or what people do like about our current president, and we do it amongst ourselves. So just because my name is LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Ben Affleck, Angelina Jolie, why does that make me different that I can't say it? Because I have so many followers, because I have a large audience that is going to pay attention to me? No, that shouldn't shut anybody up. The notion of shut up and dribble, I just think is a little oppressing, because, when you look at athletes, um, especially in basketball, and then in football, you're looking at a primarily African American black uh, uh, community, in which majority of the athletes look like me. Um, so a lot of people don't want them to speak up, don't want them to educate other African Americans and minorities on the importance of voting, on the importance of what's going on with issues in this world. Because in the normal day to day, I'm not a huge politics fan. So I'm not going to go and watch a CNN or watch this, that, and the third all the time. And I can't imagine a lot of young African Americans may. And for those people, I think it's huge, because the only exposure they're going to get is through that athlete, is through that celebrity. So whether you're for or against, I think it's your obligation to educate yourself, one, but two, also to educate others. We just got done, I shouldn't say we, but the world just got done a 10-part series with Michael Jordan. And you look at what he did not say when it came to the political realm. And what was his thing? I wasn't educated enough. He felt like he didn't know enough in order to say anything or do anything. But at the end of the day, the statement that he made, Republicans wear sneakers too, that came under large scrutiny. Um, so I think in this day and age, and where we're living at, in the structure of the world that we have, everybody should be able to use their platform to promote whatever it is. I just think in this instance, what we see with LeBron James and what we see with Kevin Durant and a lot of these guys in the NBA is huge. Now, I'll caveat that and say we also have to be careful. We also have to be careful, because a lot of people take what they consume, no matter where it comes from, and they hold that as truth. And what we have to understand is that, the people that are giving these opinions are people just like us. I would hope that what we do is we take what they're saying and what we're hearing, and we also do our own research. We look into it further so that we can educate. They can start it, and it's our job to take that and then fuel that fire, fuel our mind to then learn more. But I love it. I think it's funny that we saw Drew Brees do basically the same thing and speak up on something, and all of a sudden it's okay for him to do it. But it's a shut up and dribble when an African American did it. Had somebody else done it, a Tom Brady, it probably would have been the same thing as what Drew Brees was. Now, if Cam Newton would have done it, it would have been just shut up and throw the ball, or shut up and try to make the team. So I think when we look at the difference between what happened, there's not much. The issue is race. And when she came out and said the initial a few years ago, I think it was 2018, I got frustrated. When she said about Drew Brees, what, June, I think it was, of this year, I got furious. You're you're not trying to hide it. You're literally throwing it in our face. That I'm gonna contradict myself, because I'm a contradict it, because this plays to my benefit. You could have said the same thing. Hey, Drew Brees, listen, just be quiet. and throw a football, but you didn't. You made sure that you backed him. You made sure that you gave him your support. Are you any different than the people that you are telling to shut up and dribble? That's the question that the rhetorical question that I pose to all of our viewers, anybody else who listens, and then all of you here. Obviously, what is the difference between what she did and what LeBron did? So I'll end mine there. I'll send that thing to you, Fade.
Thank you, sir. So yeah, I do also agree that athletes should use their platforms, to speak about social injustice. Most people, kids and young adults, they look up to these athletes as heroes. And so now when you have your heroes speaking about the things going on in their communities, because majority of the athletes are black, you have everybody's ear. And especially right now, that's what I love. I can't remember who. I seen a picture either today or yesterday. I think it might have been LeBron James or it was another basketball player that wore a shirt. It was LeBron. It talked about Breonna Taylor. I can't remember the whole thing on it, but it mentioned about basically a change is coming. And that's what I love about it is that all of these athletes among the different sports, because you had MLB suspend games too, is is that there is a
Hockey,
voice.
hockey too.
Oh yeah, hockey too. Is that there's a voice that is now being heard in this country, and I love it. And so that's how that change is going to come about. Do I think we'll probably see major majority of the change probably in our lifetime? Probably not. But at least for the next generation of the black community, I think things will be better because of the athletes taking that stand and using their platform to share this message. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys heard the story. So when the NBA, I think it was the Milwaukee Bucks, when they suspended, when they said they weren't are boycotting or whatever, the owner or someone high ranking uh, in their company or whatever had reached out to somebody in Wisconsin who can make a change as far as police reformation and stuff like that. So that's the change. That's the power that these players have because they're affecting everybody, their bottom line. So if you're out here hurting our black community or communities in general, well, now we get to take away your entertainment. You don't get to enjoy this entertainment because you're out here hurting our community, and we need you to stop that. We have this voice. So I really love that, athletes are starting to take that stance and not being afraid of any backlash. And I think you're starting to see you're getting more and more of the right people behind the Black Lives Matter movement and things of that nature. So it's great that the heroes, the athletes and celebrities and stuff like that, it's great that they're starting to speak out on the social injustices. And so that's all I got. I pass it to you, Dante.
Okay, man, you guys, I ain't got nothing to say, man. Y'all said everything. But I will say a couple things. So to go back to what Jarrell was saying, as far as about Jordan not coming out saying anything, this is how I felt about this. I think we talked about it a little bit when we were discussing, who was the greatest, the best basketball player. But even if you don't know what to say or you're not educated, um, being a black person in America, you know exactly what goes on. You know exactly how black people get treated. So for him to sit there and say, you know what, I didn't know enough. That's a weak argument, and I think it's a little selfish. It definitely is selfish, not a little. It's selfish, because that is for the most part, that's what most, I won't say most, but that's what some white people will say. It's like, hey, why are you even saying anything? You made it. You have money. Like, this doesn't affect you. but they don't realize that, that they're part, like that person that made it to that level, they're not they're not everybody. They're that small minute that small minute that small portion or percent that is able to make it to that level. And so I definitely believe that every person should definitely use their platform, whether they're a professional athlete or if they're a celebrity, because like Ricky was saying earlier, people going to listen to them. They're going to want to hear what they have to say. People don't really care about what your governor has to say. They want to know what the person they see on TV has to say about whatever issue. That's why you have all these daytime TV shows, because they want to hear what they have to say. Um, but I think that they definitely should, and I'm definitely happy that they are doing that, and I hope they continue to do it. But Fabe, you brought up a good one, a good point, and I wanted to kind of go in a different direction. So, Fabe, you said, how can you said that will a change come? You don't think that it can happen? I guess
In our
in this
lifetime.
time.
Yeah.
So, if that's the case, what do you guys believe can happen so that we can see change in our lifetime? I know I have a couple ideas on why I think it could happen in our lifetime, but I want to hear what you guys have to say before I respond.
Man, well, Fabe, I'll let you bring it home. I, it's it's hard for me um, to think that it can happen just because of the world that we live in today. Um, you know, I think there's so many people that are stuck in their ways, and I don't think a change is something that is going to be quick or that can happen rapidly, because it's family heirlooms. It's a tree that we have to change, um, and I think it starts with our younger generation. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm not going to say that it's so far past, and that it's impossible. I just don't see it happening. I see some change happening, but I don't see kind of nationwide change, because there's a lot of people that just have no interest, and you see it all the time. You see somebody doing something positive, somebody doing something good, but yet it's being knocked down, and it's continually being knocked down. Oh, why are they standing up for them? Oh, well, the person got shot. Oh, they might have had a knife in the car. They got a criminal back. There's those type of thoughts. Um, I know, just in speaking in the brand new incident that just occurred. What I've heard and what I've seen, you got two protesters that was gunned down, right? So the young boy is running through the streets with a weapon. When the police come, his hands are up. Nothing happens to him. Now, he has a weapon in hand. How quickly can he pull that weapon out since it's already on him and shoot? A lot quicker than a man trying to reach down to grab a knife. So again, there's so many excuses that are being made. What is going on? George Floyd. Oh well, he had a criminal record and he was being stopped for counterfeit money. They, they make these excuses, and I don't think that they're fully on board. I will say I am very happy um, to see all the white people that have climbed on board, that have now decided not to be that. You know what? I don't believe in it, but I'm not going to say anything. Now they're starting to speak. So that's a wonderful thing. I just don't see that mass change happening that we need anytime soon. Fave or Ricky?
Go ahead, Ricky.
I think we're probably on it. What I will say is that I think that the change is going to start with a mindset change, and I think us as a black community, I think for so long we loaned for to be so inclusive and they didn't bring us here for that. They brought us here as a commodity. They brought us here to build their wealth, and I don't think with the older generation coming out, I don't think they'll ever see us as anything other than that. We are the workers. We are the engine for America. I think that's just the way that they view us. Now, some of the younger white generation is starting to buck that system because I've seen certain things where some white kids have posted, them confronting their parents and like, hey, all this stuff is happening because of you guys being prejudiced and you guys being racist. All this stuff is happening because of your generation and what you've done. So I have seen videos of them, of the younger generation, like, we're not doing this. Like, we're not gonna do that. Like, I go to school with him. Like, he's cool. I don't hate him because of his color. So I think it'll eventually get there as minds shift. But the things that this principle was built on race. I mean, this country was built on racism. That's what it was built on. Race. What's the root word of racism? Race. It's a competition. So it's all about who can be first. They built theirs, and we were so far behind. So what you have to think about is if you're in a race, let's say 100 meters. Let's say you're blowing the guy up. You're blowing him away. Are you going to stop and wait till he catches up? Absolutely not, because you want to win. So at the end of the day, that's the mentality of America. It's capitalism. All that stuff is all about race, and we were always intended on being at the bottom. That was what our intent was. But we were able to rise through all of that stuff to get to where we are now. And it's like, man, we didn't want them to get where they at. So now they're a lot of it they're picking up the heat. So I just think we need to change our mentality of trying to be inclusive and understand that we need to stick together. And there's things we need to change in our community as well, so we can be self-sufficient as a community. Because overall, even though there is some change, it's still some deep-rooted stuff that it's just not going to go away. In with marches and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of things that need to be done, a lot of repair that needs to be done in our community. And America has a lot to do with where we are and a lot to do with where things are right now. I think a lot of times America wants to be that country that's inclusive, all inclusive. Everybody can come here, the land of the free, home of the brave. But I think it's all it's a mirage. It's not that. So um, I would say it's gonna we probably won't see it. Our kids may have an opportunity, but I still think we have an opportunity to still have our voices be heard and still instill within our kids a different way of doing things. That's just me, but I think it's gonna start with us because we have some things we need to do within us in order to be able to function in the other way. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Ricky, you pretty much said it kind of, what I was feeling there, the same as far as change goes, is that, yeah, I feel it's going to be our younger generation who's going to be forcing that change. Because to me, right now, with all the athletes speaking up and stuff like that, notice this change already that's happened. When you had, what, a couple years ago, you had Trayvon Martin, you had, Sandy, I can't remember her last name, but you had all those different
Andrew Bryant.
situations. Yeah, that, yes. So you had all those different situations. There was uproar, whatever, whatever, and then it all kind of just, died down and went away. So the change that's already brought about is that you have these people, nobody's letting anything go. Something happens, it's, hey, look, we're here again. What's going on? And now, but we're continuing the conversation. So that definitely is a change right there. So more so, Dante, like what I'm talking about is like actual reform policies, things of that nature. You have a lot of the old guard, if you will, that is still in place. That's just the truth, and they're very powerful. So any change in that nature, they're not gonna let happen very easily. But over time, as far as the youth and stuff like that, I do believe that they will make things happen. That they will, our kids, grandkids, and stuff like that. That is where I think the change will be.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, Well, I see where you guys at. I'm on the opposite end. I think we could see change in our lifetime. However, it's going to have to be some radical stuff that would have to change. For instance, Ricky, you talked about it. I think a couple weeks ago on Facebook. You know, it does. I'll go with you first, Drill. It starts with education. All right. So right now we need to start educating the youth on the real history of America. Then, like I said, Ricky, a couple of weeks ago, I think you jumped on Facebook and you were talking about voting, but not voting for president, but voting in your local government. So if you are able to get the right people in office in your local government, that changes because now that mindset, and then I think it goes back to what you were saying about mindset change. So if you get the right people in your local government to start changing the mindset of the people, then you have that. But I'll go back, even what we talked about, I think before, maybe like, I don't know, episode 3 or 4, where we talked about, athletes that are going to college, go to a black, go to a, be, go to a black historical college or
HBCU.
university.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's definitely, like I said, for it to happen in our lifetime, it will have to be some radical things change. So not saying it would be easy, but hey, what 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 was easy for us to get to where we are right now? It wasn't easy. It was hard. They had to, like Harriet Tubman, she had to escape, then she went back and got people out and then continue to do that. Like that's not easy.
Right.
But
Well,
she had to
can
have
I cut you off real quick?
yeah.
The HBCU thing, I don't think it has. I don't think it's I don't think it has to be radical. The kids just have to change their mentality. Think about it. If all the top players went to HBCUs, they're gonna follow the money. The TV contracts, everything will transition to HBCUs. All the money, all the resources. What happens is what has happened over the years is that our top players feel like in order for me to make it to the league, I gotta go to Ohio State. I gotta go to Alabama. But no, you don't. They're gonna follow you. You're the commodity. You're the reason why Alabama is good and Ohio State is good. It's not nothing that they're doing. You're the reason. So
Yeah.
if you take that same talent and you take it to Alabama State,
Mm-hmm.
they gonna be just it's gonna be the same thing. And guess
Yeah.
what? The TV contracts are gonna follow. The shoe people are gonna follow. All the money's gonna shift. It'll shift to the HBCUs. That's but it take but the mentality they've gotten us up here. They built all these fancy and shiny places with the money that the kids have made.
Yeah.
They just have to switch their mentality. All it's gonna take is some of these guys, these top guys, to go to an HBCU and then still go and still see that they can make it to the league through an HBCU. That's all it's gonna take. And I think a wave of kids, like right now, North Carolina Central University has offered LeBron James' son, Dwayne Wade's son, and the number one player, I think his name is Mikey Williams or something, basketball. He's offered those three guys, and their school is on their list.
Mm.
NCCU is on their list. So just think if those three guys go to an HBCU, what that'll
Wow.
shift, how that'll shift everything.
Hmm.
I don't think it's radical. I just think it takes kids, somebody with the mindset to be like, no, I'm the commodity. I'm the one that's gonna make Alabama good and Ohio State good. So wherever I go, it's gonna be good. What we just need, they just need a few kids to get that mentality and go over to HBCU, and you'll see a change swiftly in that
That would
regard.
be huge.
So, but
LeBron's son
yes,
go there?
but so that's what I'm saying is if they did that, but that is radical in the sense because everybody wants to go to those schools. So if he goes there, they're not going to have the money off rip. I mean, well, I take that back. People can donate the money; they could do that. So yes, that could happen. But for the most part, if say LeBron doesn't go, but the kid Mikey, if he goes to a
He's the
black
number
college,
one player in the country, so if he goes, the camera's going.
but
They're gonna
yes,
be on TV.
I will agree, but they will only follow that school. What
Right.
I'm saying,
But
what
that's
I'm
a
saying
start.
is,
That's
Yeah.
a
I'm
start.
saying that they need to start going to all of them. So
Yes, yeah.
now, but that takes a radical mindset change because everybody wants to go to Alabama, everybody wants to go to LSU because of the facilities. Like
Right.
when I went to Grambling, man, my dorm room was the size of a closet. And I went to Seton Hill, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I feel like I'm on the fifth floor of the Trump Tower. Like
Right.
it was ridiculous. So I'm saying that it would be radical because our mindset is I'm trying to go D1. And so those schools, and I agree with you, and that's what we said last time is you can go anywhere. And if you're good, they'll find you. But to kind of take a back seat to go to like a D1 AA school, that would take like man, because your whole mindset is I want to go D1.
Yeah.
But I think if we did something like that, and then also far as the the pro athletes now, man, listen, all these athletes from all these sports, make your own sport.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna make our own football league. We're gonna make
Yeah.
our own basketball league. We're gonna make our own baseball league, and you fund it. So then what?
Or or in the interim, instead of giving millions of dollars to people like USC that don't need the money, go give the money to a HBCU. And I'm
That'd be
telling you, it's
great.
starting to happen. There's a kid that had a scholarship at I want to say it wasn't LSU. I think it was Texas A&M, and he opted out to go to Southern. He's a quarterback. He was one of the top quarterbacks coming out, and he at the last minute he went to Southern. Deion Sanders kid. Deion Sanders kid could he had an Alabama offer, and he went to FAU because he
Yep.
said it was important for him to have a black head coach. So
Willie Tapp.
it's starting to come together. It's just it's coming together quicker than what you think. It
Yeah,
just they just have to happen, and some people have to see it. And once they
yeah,
see it, it's gonna be a wrap. And these colleges know that their time is their days are numbered, but
Yeah.
they're trying all they can, and they try to make it feel like, hey, you on big time TV, this, that, and the third. But I'm telling you, the only reason why they're on big time TV is because of you. And once those athletes realize that when I go here, they're gonna follow me. I don't have to follow them. They're gonna follow me. Once
yeah,
they realize that, because see, we've been taught to be workers. We have that mindset of, oh, I want to go work for that big corporation. So it's the same thing in sports. Oh, I want to go to LSU, the big corporation, or I want to go to Clemson because that's what we're taught. We don't think about, I'm gonna go pay my own way. I'm going to doggone Howard. I'm going to Alabama State. You know what I mean? I'm going to Southern. I'm going to Grambling. I'm going to pave my own way out. We don't. That's not. We're not taught that way for the most part. So that's another thing that has to happen as well. But I think that's gonna happen soon. That's just my opinion.
And Dante and Ricky and Fabe, I mean, y'all kind of said it. I mean, if I'm LeBron James, if I'm Dwayne Wade, if I'm Kevin Durant, if I'm any of these top guys, listen, let's all put up a mill half, and let's all put it into these HBCUs, and start to build that to become a place where people want to go. Um, I think that would be bigger than anything that I could see. Instead of waiting,
Yep.
for that top recruit to get there, and then after he leaves, stuff starts happening. Hey man, listen, I know we can't upgrade, and give y'all, you know, the biggest diamond, but hey, listen, a diamond is a diamond. You
Yeah.
you can give me an eighth of a diamond, and that's a start, right? So I think if we can try to if we can try to get that to happen, or if that can happen, where you get a lot of these guys that are making these claims. LeBron James has the I Promise School, which is amazing. Now let's take that methodology that he has, let's take that vision that he has, and start putting it to the HBCUs. Because in my opinion, hey, start to upgrade their facilities, start to give them stuff where you can attract those guys. I'm not saying again, we're not saying that you're going to be on Alabama, but at the end of the day, if you're a minority, if you're an African American, um, going to a school like that, um, Deion Sanders' son was just on TV for high school. Um, I'm just trying to think. The rookie of the year this year, when he was in college at Murray State, he balled out. And what happened? They started putting Murray State on TV.
Mhm.
So you started seeing it even in the course of that season. Murray's not an HBCU, but the fact that he was balling, potential to be a top whatever pick, well, towards the end of the year, now Murray State's all over TV. And I think that's what can happen. You get one of these recruits to go to one of these HBCUs, and you're right, Dante. It'd be nice if we could get multiple, but if you can get one, and people start to see that brand of basketball and be like, oh, they're competing. Them boys is competing. Now you talking about starting something good. But I think we have a foundation. I just think that it's got to be built upon, and not just like, oh, we're gonna let somebody else do it, or we're gonna let it pass us by. We have to start to make that change as a whole.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm going to the next question real quick because I know we're getting ready to run out of time. Um, so the next question, hey, that was a really good. That was a good one. That was a good one, guys. The next question is the NFL did not have a preseason. So what are your thoughts on that? How do you think this package is going to look as far as football? You think it's going to be sloppy? You think it's going to be exciting because they're fresh because not having a preseason? Or so what are you guys' thoughts?
I think it's gonna be sloppy probably week one because you can't the tackling part you have to do that. I think they're tackling. I think the teams that are gonna suffer is teams that had major changes. Like even my team, the Buccaneers. You got Tom Brady coming over with new personnel, and he doesn't know the personnel. So teams like that are gonna suffer. Tom Brady, I would say the Pats with Cam, but Cam can kind of he can kind of freelance a little bit better with his legs and get himself through a couple weeks until he gets comfortable. But teams that's already established, like the Chiefs and the San Francisco, and teams that already have their people in place, I don't think they're going to suffer as much because it's the same terminology those guys are getting out there. They'll be able to come right in and go right in and go at it. But teams that have major changes, they might struggle through because the Bucks have a tough schedule out of the gate. Like the first three games are all like division games. It's like tough out of the gate. So those teams are going to suffer. But those teams that are the teams that are established, they'll be fine. But I still think for the most part, it'll be okay. I think they'll be fresher because a lot of people end up getting hurt in preseason, which means nothing. So it's gonna hurt those guys though. Those fifth round guys and those restricted free agents off the street because they're not gonna get as much time to show what they can do. So they got to show what they can do in practice only. So that's gonna hurt those guys. But as far as the established teams and established players, they should be okay.
All right, I'll go next then. I think that it's going to be very sloppy. I think from the standpoint that a lot of people are going to get hurt because their bodies are not going to be conditioned for real game time situations. So I think you're going to see a lot of injuries, as far as just like ACLs and stuff that you normally don't see a lot of. I think that's what's going to happen a lot of like week one to like week five. You're just going to see a bunch of injuries because people are just not used to moving around, even though they have their practicing right now with the team. But it's just totally different. Like you said, Ricky, the tackling is going to be atrocious. I think also far as like quarterbacks just throwing the ball around, it's just going to be it's not going to be good. I think it's going to be very poor. It's going to look like yeah, it's going to be bad.
Like
I
some
think so.
Pop Warner football.
Probably worse because they practice it. I'm done. Go ahead, whoever.
I mean, I think, I think it's gonna be tough, and I can't even say, you know, just the beginning of the season. I'm not sure how the middle's gonna look. Um, I know I'm gonna liken it to basketball, and make that comparison, even though it's hard because basketball played a majority of their season. But you think about them; they played the majority of their season, um, and you look at the bubble. I mean, scoring's at an all-time high as far as teams. Um, it on both defense has taken a hit. Um, it's already, I'm not gonna say a cupcake league, but when you think about practice, I mean, guys just you're not hitting in practice. The amount of injuries every year has gone up, and that's with starters playing less and less preseason games. So now you're going to go into a season now which you're hitting a lot less. You're doing way more walkthroughs, um, and now you're going to go out there and try to play. I think you're going to see a lot of vanilla in the very beginning, um, in my opinion, and I think there's going to be a lot of filling out. I know the Patriot motto, Dante, the Patriot motto. Let's talk about that. Hey, listen, first 4 games, it is what it is. First quarter of the season, it don't mean anything, right? 16 games, right? You take four and you split it. You go 1-3. At the end of the day, you still got 12 more. You win those 12, you got 13 wins. You lose some of those, you're still talking about a 10 win, 11 win, which means now you're talking about playoffs. So I think a lot of teams are going to start doing that, filling out, figuring out how guys fit in. But I feel worse for those guys that are maybe in the 30s on the roster, maybe the 40s, because those realistically are the guys that could probably show. It's very unlikely to see a guy that's the 50th guy, the 53rd guy, um, actually make an impact on a team. So, but I feel bad for those guys because they're not going to have that ability in live action. And Dante, we both know there are some guys that are just gamers. One of our teammates, Rat, it didn't matter what he did in practice, but when that game came, you knew that you could count on him. And I think that's different. In practice, it may not look pretty, but you get some of those guys again in the 30s, the undrafted guys that when the bright lights come on and them dollar signs is flashing before their eyes, you got to make that move. So, yeah.
For me, real quick, to kind of allude to what Ricky was talking about, excuse me, I think the gap between the good and the bad teams just got a lot bigger. Uh, like you said, you're gonna have the Chiefs, San Fran, maybe Green Bay, like an Aaron Rodgers, those guys who are experienced are gonna come out and be able to take advantage of really bad teams that need probably those 4 games and then maybe the first 2 games to kind of feel things out, see who's ready to go, see who's good, see who's playing good. So I think that gap just got very, very huge. And yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of injuries and stuff like that. But I think all in all, it's going to be a very interesting season. And I think the Chiefs, I know we're not doing a pick 'em yet, but I'm going to kind of, I guess, give my pick a little bit. I think the Chiefs have a pretty easy road back to the Super Bowl with a season like this because they're going to be able to jump out and get on people early and kind of get ahead of the schedule. So, like I said, I ain't trying to do a pick 'em. See, Dante, I ain't pick the Patriots.
Hey, well, because deep down in your heart, that's who you want to pick, but you just gotta go.
I
But
do
hey,
think it's going to help Cam Newton too, though, because with his ability, escapability, and stuff like that, I think they're going to be able to jump out on people too.
okay, well, so since you already brought that up, we might as well just go into it, and then in a couple weeks, because I think the season starts in 2 weeks, we can have official pick them. But so you got the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl? Is that what you're saying?
I plead the fifth.
Uh-huh. My brother wanted to hear that. Who you got, Ricky? Who you got?
It's too early to tell. You would think that I would pick my team, but I'm not. Like most people are picking them. I'm nervous. I hate when people do that. But right now, I like Baltimore. I think they've learned from what
Mm.
they did last year. The coach rested the players too much, and they came out too flat. And I think they'll be on alert this time. I don't think they will come out that flat. And I picked them to come out of the AFC. The NFC, I don't know yet. It's they say us, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't know in the NFC. I think San Francisco's had their turn. I don't think they're gonna come back.
No,
Uh,
me neither.
and maybe Green Bay, maybe Aaron Rodgers is upset about how they drafted a quarterback, so maybe he'll just say screw it and make it to the Super Bowl. But I'm picking Baltimore so far. I don't know on the NFC yet. I need to see more games.
Man, let me make it. All I know is I'm going to be happy for the Super Bowl because it's about to be Baltimore from the AFC and the Dallas have us
No, sir.
from the NFC.
Wow.
Tampa Bay
Yes,
make
sir.
it go to Dallas. Dallas make it.
Yes,
Oh
sir. The,
God.
no, sir. No,
You
sir.
the dog
No,
the
sir.
the dog actually, you know what? I take that back. The Hurricanes will make it there before Dallas. And they have no shot.
I
'Cause they play
mean, they are a contender though. All jokes aside, they got everybody coming back. I guess CD Lamb's already in the Hall of Fame because they giving him all these props, and
CD.
he ain't played one down yet. But he's I guess he the best thing since sliced bread. We'll see.
Listen, look. CD Lamb got that 88 for a reason. He got
Okay.
that 88 for a reason. The last person to award the 88, he probably ain't deserve it,
Michael.
No,
but
no, he balled out when he was supposed to.
just got
He
it.
just got old.
Man. So, I mean, just in case y'all didn't realize, we got this quarterback who really want this money, and they not trying to give him this money. So I think this might be his time to be like, listen, y'all may not pay me, but another team about to pay me, and I'm about to show somebody why. So we gonna have my dream Super Bowl, my favorite team from the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys, my home team, the Baltimore Ravens, my other favorite team, and I'm gonna just sit back in the Super Bowl and just enjoy myself because whoever wins, I'm gonna be excited. So that's me, Dante. What about you, sir?
Man,
Tampa,
it's a tough one, man.
Tampa Bay old, TB old.
Listen, man. Yeah, I've been saying this from day one, and I know Ricky don't like it, but day one, when I found out Tom Brady was coming to Tampa, I was like, hey, there's there's no better time for a team to play at home in the Super Bowl other than that. So let's go, baby.
Hey, I hope y'all right, man. That's my team. I hope y'all right, but I don't see it. I just don't. I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see.
Hey, I it's tough because I like Jameis, and because he coming from Florida State and he won us what two? No, one national championship.
Yeah.
Should have been two. And I wanted him to succeed. I think he didn't have enough time. But it's a business. Um, so I think that with them getting Tom, I think that kind of pushes them over. Not saying that he had a better arm than Jameis, but far as just his football IQ goes and his experience, and also I think that the not saying that the Bucks did not work hard for Jameis, but I think with Tom coming into the locker room, I think it just expectations just went through the roof. And I think that they're just going to play their tails off. I think that Byron is going to do a good job putting a game plan together, and we're going to do some stuff. But uh, it's hard when it comes to the AFC because, like you, Ricky and Fade, I have the Chiefs that's like up there, and I have the Ravens up there. So it's kind of hard to know like who's going to be good. I really want to say that Lamar is going to pull it out this year because everybody saw how he took how people were taking him as a running back, and so with him choking in the playoffs or whatever, or I won't say choking, he just didn't have a good game. I think he gonna put that on his shoulders, and I think he gonna come out and do something special. So I would say out of the AFC, I think it has to be the Ravens and Kansas City. Um, I did want to go with the Cowboys. I just had to throw that on there because it's just you, Jarrell. It's just you. So I don't know, man. That's gonna be a good one because I think that it could be either the Bucks, um, the Vikings, and also the Cowboys. I really do. I want to say the Saints, but Eric likes the Saints, and they're in the same division as the Bucks, so I can't go with that one. So that's what I would say. So, hey, take us away.
All right, guys. So here is our final segment, Deep Thought, where we answer your guys' questions and comments in chat. So there's one really good one from Mr. Byron earlier. So when we were talking about the athletes, celebrities, things of that nature using their social platforms, Byron had asked, how would we feel if the other players were saying things that opposed our views.
They were who we thought they were.
Hey man, I'm all for equal rights. I'm all for equal rights. And not everybody I speak to is gonna have the same viewpoint, but I think everybody's um, got that ability to say what they would like. Like I said, I didn't necessarily condemn her um, for what she said, particularly or that she said it. It's just you can't say shut up and play basketball for one person and say something different for somebody else. I think that contradiction there. Um, but yeah, it free speech, man, free speech.
I would just say, to be honest, real talk. This is what I have to say. It's you have two sides. You have right and you have wrong. Like there, I mean, so even if you don't agree with someone, you can look at situations, and you can and say, you know what, maybe I don't like how they're doing that, or maybe I don't like this, or maybe how this happened, but that was wrong. Or you know what, hey, that was right. So that's how I look at it. It's the right and wrong situation, and that's how it should be viewed. That's basic. That's the easiest thing. So when at the end of the day, when you take all the politics out of it, and you take any other thing other than just being right and wrong, and that's the big problem I think that we have in society is that when it's being done to us, it's wrong. And when it's done to somebody else, it's just like, maybe I don't know. But if it was affecting their household or if it's affecting one of their family members, then they would look at it the same way. So I would just say, hey, listen, look at the situation from your point of view, even though I know you can't, it's hard, but you just think about it. How would you feel if this was happening to one of your family members, or your friends? Would that be right? And if you can't sit there and say, I'm okay with that, then you have to sit there and say, you know what, I have to side with it. But that's what I would say.
Ricky?
Uh, I mean, we have examples. I.e., Jonathan Isaacs. He was his everything he said was different than what we're talking about, and lo and behold, he blows out his knee. Not to say that had anything to do with it, but you have people that don't believe in what we believe in. You still, and I think that all comes from a mentality of, I think it's selfish to a degree because they're just looking at their situation and the situation they're in and saying, "Hey, I'm good. I don't see any racism. I don't feel any racism." But there always becomes a time. I don't know if you guys remember. Some of y'all might be too young, but O.J. Simpson used to say, "Hey, I'm not black. I'm O.J." And they showed him that he was black when during the OJ trial, right? You know, so you're still black at the end of the day, and if you haven't met it, LeBron James, they spray painted racial slurs on his mansion gate. This is LeBron James, so you can't escape it. So to have a different opinion is just, to me, not really being in touch with who you are, or having some false sense that you are one of them, and that always ends up being the case. I.e., what's the big buff guy name? He's just doing all kind of cooning right now. Can't think of his name.
Talking about the one that was on that Fox show.
Terry Crews.
Oh,
Terry
Terry.
Oh
Crews, like,
yeah.
man, he just his eyes just bucked wide open right now. So it's just, I mean, they have a right to their opinion, but I think they're leading themselves down a road that they're gonna be disappointed, because they're gonna the same thing, very things that we're speaking out against, they're gonna experience at some point. Period. That's just the way it goes. I don't know if you guys knew Diamond and Silk, who was like Trump. They were on Trump's side, and then they got their show canceled because of something they said that the Republicans didn't like. Candace Owens, she thought she was going to speak at the RNC, and they declined. So all this, you get it, you gonna get it. So you can think that you're one of them if you want to, but at some point you're gonna feel that same feeling that everybody's speaking out about. So people can have that opinion, but life is the best teacher. That's all I can say.
Yeah. It's actually funny, Byron, that you asked this question because kind of was just having this conversation with a fellow coworker, and she's actually mixed. So again, I have no problem with their opposed views and their, like everybody says, freedom of speech and things of that nature. I think with that opposed view, for me, it depends on the message that they're trying to send. Who are they talking to, and how are they trying to talk to the black community? Because, what's her name? Candace Owens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Candace Owens. So, like, her message where she may say she ain't experienced this or whatever the case may be, well, you're lying to yourself because people found out. But it's also like craft or say your message in a way that maybe the black community can understand of what you're trying to say because you're speaking from their perspective, not from the black community's perspective of what we understand and what we're going through. So it's just you can have your opposed view, but are you trying to get out a certain message to help the black community? And it doesn't really seem like people like her are getting out a message to, help the black community or help the black community understand so that we can level up and grow from our current situation to where we want to be, to where we want to be seen as equal and things like that. Um, so yeah, that's all I got for that. Do we have
What a great
anything
question.
else? Yes, very good
Yeah. Good
question.
question. B. Nelson.
Um, so Miss Sylvia was asking. I'm not sure what she meant, because she said what's really going to happen to sports or sports in school. But I see Ricky answered that high school sports is going on.
Yeah, here they're just gonna play local. So most of the high schools have an 8 game schedule. They're gonna play local teams, and I guess to stop the travel and try to, they're just gonna play everybody local. From what I understand, there's gonna be a 50% of capacity of fans that can come in a game. So that's what they're trying to. That's what they've decided on now. So they're still gonna allow the class of 2021 to get film, which I think is vital for those guys that's still trying to get out of school. So I think that was
Nice.
the purpose why they allowed them to play.
So
And I also believe that they're trying to have a playoffs as well, for certain schools. So I think they have like a deadline that you have to sign, that you have to enlist that you're going to play. And then I guess out of the certain classifications,
Hmm.
I don't know how they're going to do it, but that's what I also heard too.
interesting. So I actually had a deep thought question for Ricky. Um, Earlier when you were talking about your past and stuff, you mentioned that you were on the Redskins or that you had worked with the Redskins.
Mm.
So I was wondering, in their what has recently happened with them and all the controversy that they've been through in your time there, can you give us any insight to the background if there was anything you felt or noticed while you were there?
No, I actually did notice you talking about all the discrimination, the women coming out with
Yes.
sexual
Mhm.
harassment
Yes.
complaints. I didn't really see any of that. I was strict. I worked under the team photographer, so I didn't really know what they had going on as regards to that. It was a decent organization to work for. I didn't have a lot of interaction with any of the
Okay.
higher up people, so I didn't see that there. But in terms of the name change, a lot of people say that they don't understand why they had to change the name, and a lot of them Native Americans, some of the Native Americans didn't have a problem with it, but some of them did. But basically, like they said, well, what about Florida State? Well, they're the Seminoles, so that's just their name. That's just who they are. But the Redskins is a derogatory term for Native Americans. It's basically equivalent to the N word.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference between Florida State Seminoles and the Cleveland Indians versus the Redskins. That's like a derogatory term. So I understand why it needed to be changed,
Mm-hmm.
because of that reason. But as far as the other stuff, I was shocked, just as shocked as you were, because I had no idea all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff was going on up there in the front office.
Interesting.
Well, Jarrell, you got anything else?
Nah, man, Ricky, I just want to thank you again for coming on, man. Feel free to join us at any time. Appreciated the conversation, your insight. And again, I appreciate your service, man. As having two parents, I was too cowardly to go in, but I appreciate your sacrifice and everything that you're doing, man, because one, obviously, I told you we got the photography tie, and then obviously the military doing, man. So just thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for stopping in and giving us some of your time.
No problem, man. Y'all got to get me back on when that football season get rolling.
Not if you not saying the Bucks going to Super Bowl.
I mean, I want us to go. I'm just, you know what I mean? I don't want to have my expectations up that high. I need to see first. I just need to see it.
Dante like to get his heart broken. That's all.
You trying to say we haven't been in the playoffs in like 7 or 8 years, and we just gonna go straight to the Super Bowl because one person came? That's hard. That's not logical.
Hey, it can happen.
It can. I'm not saying that it can't. I'm just saying I'm being logical. That's all I'm saying.
Angels in the outfield.
There has been a team. I'm trying to think. There has been a team where one football player came and it's changed like 3 or 4 wins.
I'm not saying that, but first of all, we got to worry about winning the division. We got a tough division. We got to win that first. We worry about that first, and then we worry about other stuff.
Drew Brees.
That's the only person, and after his comments, his teammates not gonna play for him. James Winston, get ready. And
Same as James.
Teddy Bridgewater, I like him, but
okay, I'm not.
He gonna need 2 years. He gonna need 2 years.
Falcons? I know they just got who they just got your boy from Wisconsin. What's his name?
Who got them?
I thought they they got the guy from
Todd Gurley.
Rams.
Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah.
got- But yeah, the Falcons, I don't see nothing in that. And I think the only people that we got to compete with is the Saints.
All right.
But we'll see though. We'll see.
I hope you're right. I got season tickets. If they let me in, I'm gonna be there.
Let me in now. All right, hey, yes, Ricky, thank you so much for getting on, and we definitely will have you on again when the season starts.
Yeah, for sure.
Babe, you got anything else?
Nah, man, I'm gonna take us out of here if you don't mind.
Let's go.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in to the 7th episode of the Deep Third podcast. We appreciate you guys for the views, for the follows. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that like button on the video. And share this episode to anybody that you feel, might find it interesting. There was a lot of good topics in here. I especially love the conversation about the HBCUs. I think that message needs to get out there more to the kids. So that's all we got for you guys. See you next week.